1.
I do agree with them on horror movies. I just don't know what the appeal of horror movies is either. Three of us are a set of wimps. Good morning to you. This is Kay Adams with you till 12 on BBC Radio Scotland. It is Tuesday the 8th of August. Results day, of course, for many students across the country. But we are looking ahead to the world of work. Is the mood changing?
Increasingly, businesses are saying they want people back. I think we will get to a point where the default is you work in the office unless there's a good reason not to be in the office.
Well, that's Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor, back in May. And now even Zoom, the video conference company, the poster child for home working, wants its staff back in the office at least 2 days a week. Is it time to return to pre-pandemic working? Are we kidding ourselves if we think we are as productive at home? Oh, and the Fringe is in full swing, of course. Laughs aplenty.
I'm single, I'm jobless, I'm homeless, or as I like to call it, a triple threat to my mental health.
That's Tatty McLeod. She made her name on social media. Like so many of this year's acts, we'll discuss how social media is changing the Fringe. Also... But do you like going on your own? You have the people who absolutely love it. They revel in it. Martin Geisler's one of those. He has a rare old time, it appears. Other people say, oh my no, people will think I'm a bit odd. Which camp do you fall into? Ross Allen, our award-winning vet, is here to answer any questions you have about your pets. Call or text 80295. And I'm about to give you the first clue in our Name the Place quiz.
All the conversations that matter.
Mornings with Kay Adams on BBC Radio Scotland.
Yes, Professor Carol Huff was having a little holiday last week. She wasn't here. I'm sure you missed your Name the Place quiz, but don't worry, she is back and stinkier than ever. Well, not personally, but the clues, of course. So see if you can work out the answer to today's Name the Place quiz. Keep guessing. Process of elimination. 80295 is the text number. When someone does work it out, we'll hear this. There you go, that is the clever klaxon, but I'll go through all the clues throughout the programme and then Professor Carol Huff will join us just before 12 o'clock and she will do the big reveal if you don't have it before then. So the first clue to today's place is named from a compass point. The first clue to today's place is named from a compass point. getting on with that first clue for Name the Place. The first clue to today's place is named from a compass point. Is it Muir of Ord? That's from Ian. He's the first one in the guess. No, it's not Ian, but that's got us going. Easthaven, that's from Margaret in Perthshire. No, that's not correct either. Strike them off your list. 80295 is the text number. I'll be giving you the remaining 6 clues throughout the rest of the programme. It is 13 minutes past 10. This is Kay Adams with you till 12 on BBC Radio Scotland. Known to millions for playing Ronnie Mitchell in EastEnders, Samantha Womack revealed last year that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer. She was prompted to go public by the news that Olivia Newton-John had lost her life to the disease. Thankfully, Samantha is about to return to the stage in the hit musical 42nd Street, appearing at the Theatre Royal Glasgow. I think I might have said the King's earlier. I do apologise for that. Appearing at the Theatre Royal Glasgow from Monday the 21st to Saturday the 26th. But still very keen to promote breast awareness. Morning to you, Samantha.
Morning, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well. Are you ready for Glasgow?
I'm always ready for Glasgow.
You have to be.
Well, I grew up in Edinburgh, and then I did Who Do You Think You Are, and found out that most of my relatives were actually from Maryhill. So yeah,
Really?
I knew I had some Glaswegian in me. I knew it.
Wow. How long did you spend in Edinburgh?
Oh gosh, I was there from probably 9 years old till about 12 or 13, enough to develop quite a strong Edinburgh accent. And I was a wee mod. I was a mod, and I used to ride a scooter on the back of a scooter, and I used to go and go down to Princes Street and get my salt and sauce on my chips and go swimming in the Commonwealth Centre. Yeah, that was my childhood.
The things you learn, and I tell you what, you slipped into that accent really easy there. You really did.
But I'm actually probably a bit more Glaswegian.
Oh, well, there you go. The things you learn. Well, you're certainly ready for Glasgow. There's no question about that. You've had quite the year then, haven't you, Samantha?
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was last year. This year, luckily, has been a joy and a relief, to be honest. Last year was a mad kind of roller coaster. Diagnosed with breast cancer very quickly while I was working. Didn't have any symptoms. I just had this kind of uncanny knowing. Got myself checked out and was very lucky to get out some pretty aggressive little lumps quite quickly, and had some treatment, and then went back to work and finished my job last year. But it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
I mean, so what was the little feeling?
It's really hard to describe, because I think once you go through something like this, you just there's a button that's just switches on, which is you're listening to your body. And I'm still able to do that. It's funny, your body does speak to you. It's just our brains often get in the way with modern life. I just think I kept thinking strange things, and I kept thinking I must go and get a check, and I kept looking at things just slightly differently, and that's not me. You know, I've never been to the doctor. I'm really strong, and I've never been ill, so it was highly unusual for me to suddenly, in the middle of a job, just suddenly opt to go and get myself checked out for lots of different things. I didn't have a knowing that it was cancer or breast cancer, but had an ultrasound, just a normal routine ultrasound, and there were 2 little lumps that were actually high grade 3, so they were aggressive. So I managed to get them out just in time. But yeah, very, very scary.
Can you remember that instant when you were delivered that news?
I remember where I was and what I was doing. I was actually in the middle of 2 shows. I was on Oxford Street and walking back to the Gillian Lynn Theatre in the West End. I was about to go on stage as the White Witch in C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. So that was a bit trippy.
And did you go on?
Of course I did. It's really weird. You have like weird moments in your life, don't you? Lots of them. But I got this news and I hadn't shared it with anyone. And obviously they can't do the biopsy there. They can only see what they think is dangerous. And my stepfather's a doctor. So I think I understood what they were saying quite quickly. Anyway, I think I knew what it was. They were pretty sure they knew what it was. And I went back down to do the second show. And there's this really is a beautiful production. There's kind of live musicians on stage playing cellos and violins. And, you know, C.S. Lewis is all about life and loss and death. And I wait to go on stage and there's this snow that's just falling from the sky. And a friend of mine, Rachel Dawson, who's in the show, playing this beautiful kind of melody on the cello. And I just felt really overwhelmed with beauty, strangely. That was the way it hit me. Everything suddenly seemed really vivid and beautiful. And but then I had to go on and be terrifying. I wasn't really feeling it. So, yeah, you have these very strange moments. But I'm the patron of a charity called Yes to Life. And actually there's a lot of really positive things that happen when you get a diagnosis. People talk about kind of, you know, coping with cancer or surviving with cancer, but, you know, these are profound things that change you and change the way you live. And it would be fair to say, I think, that quite a lot of us live with blinkers on most of the time. You know, we're not really ever present. We're too busy thinking about, I don't know, council tax or
the next
numbers.
Job or
yeah,
whatever.
Exactly. So I feel like the blinkers have been taken off and there is a real beauty in that. So, but for now I'm clear. I feel very healthy and I'm already, actually, we've done a couple of dates already with 42nd Street. So it's as if last year was kind of, I don't know, it would maybe a gift. Who knows? How do you look at these things? I don't know.
Well, yeah. And I mean, you know, obviously in this job, I've spoken to many, many people who've received your diagnosis or other diagnosis, and I'm constantly amazed by how individualised their own approach to it is. And I've heard people say similar things to you, and on a whole range of different reactions. And you know, it's your life, you know, and you know, there's no sort of generalised response. I don't think. I mean, you could probably have kind of stayed under the radar with this, couldn't you? But you did decide to go public with it.
Yeah, it was a really instinctive decision and I was really nervous about it. I was in the kitchen cooking with my daughter and up until that point, I'd been trying to be very stoic and kind of matter of fact. That was just my approach because I didn't want to scare everyone else, mainly. I think that's the thing with particularly women. I think when you're a caretaker, when you have people underneath you that you're trying to take care of, or even maybe parents, or I don't know, you kind of go into, it'll be fine, you know, you become stoic. And Lily read out to me in the kitchen. We were sitting in the kitchen island and I was cooking and she said, "Oh no, Olivia Newton-John's just died." And it was like some visible force had just kind of hit me in my gut because I'd met Olivia just pretty soon after she'd been diagnosed, all those years before, 30-something years before. I was doing Grease at the Dominion Theatre and she took me out for dinner and she's the most incredible woman. And I felt, because I was so in awe of her anyway, I'd grown up watching Grease and there's this beautiful woman turns up at the theatre and then she was even more beautiful in real life. And then she shared that very personal news with me. And so I suddenly realised all that amount of time that had gone by, she'd been quietly fighting, and the power of that really hit me. And I suddenly thought, gosh, this is not something to keep secret. This is something to share because everyone needs to make sure they're being diligent with checking themselves. It's so important. You know, it's the smallest thing and it could have the most incredible impact on your life, on having your life. So, yeah, I instinctively went on to Instagram because I felt that, and I put a picture of her and I and said, I'm just devastated that she's lost her battle. And then I just got the most incredible support system that came back. I'm always wary of social media. It makes me quite nervous. We have to use it a lot to promote the work that we do. And I don't know, I've always had a strange mixed response to it because I've got teenagers as well and I see the kind of harm it does them at times. So anyway, it wasn't that in this case. I got this huge network of men and women who were just so open and frank and honest with me about what they were going through. And I just needed it. I really needed it. And this is kind of then when I went on to become patron of this incredible charity, Yes to Life, that has what they call wigwam groups, and you get to just sit down and talk to people about integrative medicine, which runs alongside pharmaceutical medicine, which kind of the world is now starting to understand. There's lots of things you can do to slow down cancer. And talk to people and not feel so alone. So it was a instinctive decision, but I think it was the right one.
Yeah, it sounds like you got support that you didn't even really realise that you needed.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, how you feeling now? I mean, you've got to be feeling good if you're heading into a run of 42nd Street.
I do. It was such a strange time, wasn't it? Last year and the year before. I mean, for me more so, obviously, but COVID, all of that lockdown stuff, you know, cost of living crisis. It's a pretty weird time to feel optimistic. But nostalgia seems to be the ticket at the moment. We are experiencing really high sales in this musical, and I don't know, like a reaction to something that feels joyous. It's a really beautiful piece of work. It's directed gorgeously. The dancing is, I mean, I don't dance very much. I sing quite a lot, and that's lovely for me. But it was a story that was basically about life after the Great Depression and people coming out of kind of poverty and what could they do to feel joyous. And they make this amazing show, but it's very nostalgic. There's lots of generations that come to see it, and we pretty much get solid standing ovations every night, but people are moved by it and they feel uplifted by it. So for me personally, to have kind of finished last year where I did, and then be in this kind of, well, it's seductive, this show. It really is. People are coming back to see it 2-3 times in a week, bringing their parents and their grandparents, and I hum it all the time. It's like an earworm. I can't stop humming the songs when I wake up, which I'm sure is going to drive me mad by the end of the talk. It's just so happy.
Well, joy is infectious. We could all do with a bit more of it. Listen, before I let you go, I just have to mention tattoos. I got my first ever tattoo at a very aged age at the beginning of the year, which I'm looking at just now. And I believe you've had one as well.
I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 4.
You're a veteran. Oh my goodness.
They become quite addictive. It's really interesting. Yeah. So one of them, so the first one I had was, my dad was a singer-songwriter who died quite tragically, but he was a beautiful musician. He was discovered by Fleetwood Mac's manager and signed to them. Real hippie, you know, guitarist. And Lily took his guitar after he passed away, and she started her first day at music school at LIPA in Liverpool. So I got his guitar, which she took over, tattooed onto my arm, and that was the beginning of it for me. But my last one, when you have breast cancer, they give you 4 little tattoo dots on your body. I didn't even know that was going to happen until 10 minutes before it did. That's you know, the beauty of the overrun NHS. No one has any time to talk to you. Doctors and nurses are working so hard trying to just manage things. So, they give these little kind of 4 dots, these tattoos on you. And when I finished my treatment, I kind of wanted to own them and turn them into something kind of lovely. So I've got a little sternum tattoo here of a kind of Nordic sign for Lilith, who was probably the first female power that was recognised outside of Jesus and God. So there you go. I've got Lilith on there. She's a little protective power.
Wow.
Yeah. And my daughter's Lily as well, and we call her Lilith. So yes, it's a
perfect.
It's a thing. Yeah, they all. How do you feel about yours? What have you? Can you tell me what you've got? No.
Yes, I like it. I have got on mine. Well, it was my 60th birthday last year, and my mother was always a terrible age denier, which I was as well, and she would only ever say that she was over 21.
Me
so
too.
I have over 21 tattooed on my arm.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. I hope you get loads.
Yeah, it's as old as it'll ever be. Samantha, it's been a real pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much. So 42nd Street live at the Theatre Royal Glasgow from the 21st of August to the 26th of August. A bit of joy. Who's going to turn down that? Thank you, Samantha.
I discovered soul music in
on the WB's Big Sunday. It's the Charmed Ones fantasies in the flesh.
Call me butter, because I'm on a roll.
Charmed. Then, the critics have seen the WB's high school reunion, and they call it pure drama. A don't miss. Intriguing. Filled with big surprises. Addictive. Life, love, jealousy. The drama unfolds.
It's going to be a game, and it'll be my game.
A fresh episode of High School Reunion after Charmed.
The WB Sunday, starting at 6 on UBN
I discovered soul music in mainstream nightclubs, and it was actually the chill-out zones where a lot of soul and funk was getting played, and I just found myself spending a lot more time there than the main dance rooms.
Soundtrack this summer with Ravi Sagoo.
On Summer Soul, we're going to celebrate the rich archive of black music from soul, disco, blues, R&B, funk, and we'll even sneak in a bit of hip-hop. We've got it all covered and some.
Join him for great music and great guests.
Gospel was the foundation.
We got to see Aretha doing the vocal.
Summer Soul, Friday nights from 10 on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
Right, let's see how we're doing with Name the Place. Your first clue is named from a compass point. The first clue to today's place is named from a compass point. John S. in Blackwaterfoot is saying North Queensferry, North Berwick. That's Ruthie's guess. South Erradale. Somebody else pitching in with that one. Ardersier, says Neil from Rassay. Is it Ibster? That's from Mike in Port Glasgow. So none of those are correct. You can strike all of those off your list. Let me give you clue number 2. Clue number 2 is round the bend. Clue number 2 is round the bend.
I want to be a partner, can't you see? The music is just starting, night is calling, and I am falling, dance with me. Fantasy could never be so killing, I feel free. I hope that you are willing, pick the beat up and kick your feet up, dance with me. Let it lift you off the ground. Starry eyes and love is all around us. I can take you where you want to go. Oh, dance with me. I want to be your partner, can't you see? The music is just starting, night is calling, and I am falling, dance with me. Partner, can't you see? The music is just starting, night is calling, and I am falling, dance with me.
Vet from Pets and Vets Glasgow has just walked into the studio, but I think had he had his choice, he would have cycled in because he is very excited about the World Cycling Championships that are going on at the moment. You have been loving it, I believe.
Oh, I've been loving it, Kay. I think it's fantastic, and I think many people might have been kind of not really aware of what was going on, but no, it's come to town, and I think it's Glasgow and it's Scotland on show to the world, and I'm immensely proud of the experience of what's going on. And I think the highlight for me so far has to be the road race on Sunday. I think these cyclists going up Scott Street and Montrose Street in the centre of town and just seeing the crowds.
It's a stinker of a hill, that one.
Well, they were gliding up it in seconds, you know, but it was wonderful. And to see the crowds out in the street and to hear folk talking about it that you wouldn't think, like my hairdresser, a bit of savage haircut, but he was talking about just how good it was to be in Glasgow and have that all on his doorstep and what he felt about cycling, and that was fantastic.
Brilliant. So you were out, in the crowds. You watched it on telly as well?
Watched it on the telly as well, and hearing the commentators, some of these folk are really experienced, Chris Boardman and so on, talking about the challenge of the course and about the coverage also, about just how slick it was and all these camera angles. And my family that normally aren't really into cycling actually said, I need to close my eyes because this is too exciting. That was brilliant.
Really? God, that's fantastic to hear. Yeah. You are a cyclist, aren't you?
I'm a cyclist. I'm a bit prejudiced, but at the same time, I love it. And I think just showing the scenery of Scotland, the architecture of the city, everything we've got here on our doorstep, I'm immensely proud. It's absolutely wonderful.
Oh, that's great to hear. So are you a mammal?
I am a mammal. Totally.
How appropriate for a vet, isn't it? You're a mammal. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, you can tell them, Ross.
That's a middle-aged man in lycra.
Yes. And proud of it.
Absolutely.
And proud of it, absolutely. Well, we're here to talk about animals, vets, pets, of course, not here to talk about vets, pets. Ross is here taking calls from 110805 92 95 00. The texts are open now. The lines are open now, so do get your calls in. You can text 80295. Actually, a little bit later, Ross, separate from your pet surgery, we're going to be talking about pet nups. Mm-hmm. Because apparently, obviously, lots of couples will get together. They may not have children, or they may have children, but they will also have I say a fur baby, but I mean, I guess it could be a feather baby or a reptile baby. I don't know, a pet baby. And if the relationship breaks down, 9 out of 10 couples cannot come to an amicable agreement as to who gets the pet. And so we're talking about pet nups as to whether or not an agreement should be made. Have you ever sort of seen that situation from afar, that there's a real tension?
Not from afar. I've been pretty in there. So.
Oh, really?
Not personally, okay, but certainly there have been a few scenarios where, couples may split up, and the pet that they've had together and they've decided to buy, collectively and bring into their lives when they were together, things develop or it becomes unwell, and we need to get consensus about the decision on how to treat that pet. And there are occasions where I've in the past had to speak to each person separately and then give them some time to think about it. So these kind of things are not that uncommon. So it is the sort of thing that I think if couples are thinking of getting a pet, and it's maybe something to talk about and explore. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So who is the primary carer?
Yeah. And sometimes there are scenarios where I certainly know once or twice the pet's name has changed after the couple have split. I don't know how I feel about that, but that to me,
really,
it galls a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. Poor wee dog, cat, budgie, or whatever. I thought my name was Joey. What's going on here? Yeah. Oh, so it's a tense area.
It can be. So yeah, might be something to think about.
Okay, all right. We will bear that in mind. Well, talking about this wouldn't be a fur baby. This would be a feather baby. In fact, I wonder if Ellen DeGeneres and her wife Portia de Rossi have sat down and had a conversation about what would happen if they split up to their pet chickens, because apparently Ellen is besotted by her pet chickens, and Zayn Malik from One Direction, he's your favourite.
Absolutely.
You've told me before he's your favourite.
Well,
yeah. Yep. He got pet chickens, and one chicken in particular, and obviously formed a really, really strong bond, and something was wrong with the chicken, and he took it to the vet to get a scan, and the vet laughed and said, people don't bring chickens here, and then he had got an x-ray and took the chicken home and died in his arms, and he cried. Do people form bonds with their
People form
cheeky
bonds
chicks?
with chickens. I think this is the thing, that there's commercial chickens, and that's an entire industry, isn't it? But in terms of backyard poultry, that's the phrase, or pet chickens, there are definitely people do form really close relationships with their chickens, and we've looked after a few ones that have been attacked by foxes that we have operated on to rescue the chickens. And clients often can want everything done for their chicken that they would want done for their pet dog or cat. So
really,
yep. So maybe Ellen DeGeneres, maybe these other celebrities should think of getting prenups or things like that, but about their pet chickens. But who knows?
Wow. So, I mean, do chickens know who we are?
I think. Maybe Kate, perhaps. No, they probably will.
Kind of existential question.
Normally, chickens, even if you take so one of the ways in which people can get chickens is ex-commercial chickens that people can really take on to give them a new home, and those are chickens that won't be used to people, but normally fairly rapidly will form a relationship and kind of relax into the home environment or the backyard environment and get to know you. So they probably do form relationships. Yeah.
Right. And will they come to you? Will they recognise you? Can you pet them? I'm a bit weird about birds.
Whether or not they would recognise the individual person or just that the person is coming and they normally bring the food and put it down. So I think it might be that kind of they recognise the person that's going to feed them rather than the individual. But I mean,
do you think people get chickens? And I mean, there's going to be people out there with chickens, aren't there? Backyard poultry, by the way, who are going to be listening into this and hopefully get in touch to tell us just what is the nature of your relationship with your chicken. 80295. But I mean, do you think you get them basically because they want an egg in the morning? Or because they want a pet? I'm not sure.
I think some people get them for the kind of altruistic, let's give this commercial hen a new life and a good life. Some people get them for production of their own eggs, and they're very proud of it, and their eggs are bigger eggs and a certain colour of egg, not just the shell but the yolk inside it.
Ooh, my eggs are bigger than your eggs.
Other people get them for their looks. So certainly the Highland Show is something that people, if they're thinking, where's he going from here? I mean, the number of different species or breeds of hens and chickens that are out there and the different looks, there are people that are right into that, and that's one of the reasons they get chickens.
Wow, there you go. This is a fascinating little sidebar to our vet surgery today. Ross is here to answer your questions as ever. 08085 92 95 00. You can text 80295. But we want to know from you chicken keepers out there, why do you get... I mean, is it because of the eggs? Is it because it's a really good-looking chicken? Is it to give a creature a new life? Is it for the love of it? Do they know who the heck you are, for a start? What is... This is perhaps the weirdest question I've ever put out on this show. What is your relationship with your chicken? That's what I want to know today. And do they have names? Do they have names? Do you think people give chickens names?
Absolutely.
They do?
Oh, I'm sure there'll be plenty chicken names out there.
Oh,
so just
right, okay.
Wait and hear the best ones, Kay.
I am looking forward to this. 80295. What is your relationship with your chicken? And do tell us what your little Chucky Lookie's name is. It's
Got something to say?
weird.
Text 80295. Standard message rates apply.
Mornings with Kay Adams on BBC Radio Scotland.
Right, we will have another clue for Name the Place very shortly, but first...
Let's call the song exactly what it is.
love Aretha. Don't you pure love Aretha? My God, what a great track that is. You know, you can always depend on Cara McKenzie. You know the one I mean, the grumpy one that comes in on a Wednesday. Tomorrow. Is she in tomorrow? Grumping in. She sent me pictures of her chickens, talking to Ross Allen about chickens. We're curious about people